Right. Well, good afternoon, all you racing fans and fans of our show, Winning Ways Show. Nice to have some feedback from as far as New Zealand. Craig Ramsey said that we should get the picture sorted out. And I hope, Craig, this is a better picture for you and you get some idea of what's going on in your long lost fatherland, Craig, because I know you become a New Zealander, but you're still a South African at heart, and you post some extremely funny stuff on Messenger. Most enjoyable. Craig Ramsey, one of the great horsemen in racing. Enjoyed having him here, ran the owners in many years. I hear he farms avocado pears in New Zealand. So hopefully one day we'll be able to get him on board and hear what he's got to say. Let's chat a bit about, I'm just going to get my notes out here about what's going on in the rest of the world. And firstly, Los Angeles. Santa Anita is where Bob Baffert trains horses with Doug O'Neill and many others. And he certainly has been at the forefront of a demonstration in front of the LA County houses, Los Angeles County houses, trying to get racing up and running again in Los Angeles, and that's at Santa Anita Racecourse. Bob and Jill Baffert held placards, and they certainly held distancing, social distancing, which you've got to do, and all these type of things. And it was very interesting that they're pushing for Santa Anita Racing to get back and going again. And so it should, because there's no reason why we shouldn't race. We can race behind closed doors. Los Alamitos down the road has been racing behind closed doors. Now, Los Alamitos, for those of you that don't know, is essentially a quarter horse track and made its name as a quarter horse track. Well, Bob Baffert certainly knows a bit about quarter horse racing. And as a result, he is pushing for Santa Anita to open. But just talking about Los Alamitos, they've been running racing through March and April, and they run Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And what is interesting, and this shows how important it is for South African racing to get going behind closed doors and to inform the punter correctly on how he should be betting, because Los Alamitos has no live audience. It is all simulcast racing and is all by account, because most of the betting shops in America are also closed down. Well, just what is of interest is Los Alamitos is that their daily handle, which is their daily turnover, as we call it here, has grown exponentially every single day. Friday, they had a record of $2.4 million traded only on betting accounts on Los Alamitos Racing. Saturday, they went to $2.8 million, and they had a $450,000 pick four pool. They call it, I think they call it they don't call it, pick four, which is like a jackpot pool. $450,000, which was the second biggest pool they've ever had for the jackpot. All, of course, patrons betting into accounts. But it shows you, if you have the product and you're able to put it on. Now, what Los Alamitos did, which is very interesting, is that they have started putting on thoroughbred racing there. And the thoroughbred racing is 4.5 furlong thoroughbred racing. So the trainers from Santa Anita, and there are about 8 or 9 of them, have taken horses down there to race in these thoroughbred races. They've raised the stakes from $10,000 to $18,000 because of the turnover, because they're making money and because they're trying to attract crowds, horses, so that the people, of course, can bet on them. So Los Alamitos has taken the bull by the horns and changed itself, morphed itself, if you like, from a pure quarter horse track, which was very low on stakes and really not very good. Nikki, nice to have you with us again. Nikki Henderson from the UK is one of our great staunch supporters. So he's here, and nice to have him with us. But just going back to Los Alamitos, I want to just tell you another little story about them. They had one big horse race, because they have a turf track on the outside where they race, or dirt track on the outside of the quarter horse track, which is on the inside. And they encouraged California Chrome to go there. Now, this tells you what big horses do for race meetings. They turned over $10 million when California Chrome was there. They closed the gates. They just couldn't get everyone in there. So Los Alamitos is a guiding light as far as racing is concerned worldwide. Now, we got Cliffy Miller calling me. So let me have a chat with him because Kimberley is in a serious plight. So let's see what he's got to say. Cliffy, are you there?
Hello, James. Yeah, I'm here. I'm too early for you.
Yeah, no, you're on. You're live, Cliffy. Nice to have you live, chap.
Good. So I better look at my P's and Q's.
Yeah, you better get that English of yours polished up, you dumb Dutchman. Okay, because I see you post. I see you on social media. You're quite a big follower of Mr. Bean. He's not going to help you.
Okay.
All right, let's talk Kimberley, because as you know, I'm very close to you guys, and I really feel for the plight that you guys have. They've cancelled racing through the month. You've only had 6 race meetings this year. This has got to make it very difficult.
Yeah, we only had the 6, and some of we could call it we fully raced, since the time they opened again, August.
Okay, so that's all you've been able to do. How are you guys keeping going? What's going on there? Apparently, there's how many? A number of trainers there at Kimberley, and you have about 170 horses there at Kimberley.
James, yes, that's right. We have 6 trainers in Kimberley at the moment, with 172 horses in the stables. That's in training in Kimberley. That's going to look after about 6 trainers.
All right.
And as you know,
yeah, carry on.
And as you know, we haven't raced since December. We had 1 race meeting. The others got washed out, and then we never got any meetings after that again. Some got washed out again since then. Then a lockdown came, and then we were stranded for money, income.
Okay, so let's just talk about the lockdown, and now they're talking about racing, and you were given 3 race meetings in this month, but that's the month of May that's coming up. But there's no race meetings at your track. They've all been cancelled for the simple reason that we're not allowed to cross-border travel. Is that right?
That's correct. That's what they told us. We were supposed to race a 4th, 11th, and 18th. But the government, they said no cross-border travels, and they were bargaining on no cross-border travel because no staff in Kimberley, according to them, to let the race meeting carry on. Okay,
what do you mean by no staff? There's obviously no start, and there's a shortage of jockeys.
Yeah, your race day officer type of thing, your race day manager, whatever they call them, then your handlers. The handlers that come from Johannesburg. They're the ones that always arrive in the bus, because the jockeys were all the jockeys that participate in racing at Kimberley said they were prepared to come down in their own vehicles if they could,
Which seems to make sense. Now, surely you guys could teach handlers there on track. You've got assistant trainers, you've got head lads, you've got guys who can actually do the job of a handler. It's not a difficult job, and in fact, they work every time you go to the stalls with your horses, don't they?
Yes, exactly. I mean, I actually brought that forward to the NHRA that time a while back and said to them that we should train these guys if they want them trained and give them licenses to do the work in Kimberley as handlers, because they are good horse people. They know horses. They grow up with horses. It's not the thing that they don't know anything about the horse. They know exactly what to expect from the horse in the starting stalls.
So in effect, if the NHA and the powers that be, certainly Phumelela, who's the operators of Kimberley, decided that they really wanted to race in Kimberley, they could probably make a plan to get handlers on Kimberley Racecourse. They could probably make a plan for the chief stock to drive down there, and they could probably make a plan to get the jockeys there if they ask permission. Now, I'll tell you why I ask this, because on Friday they're racing in Kenilworth, and on Monday they're racing in PE, and that's cross-border, okay? And I see that one jockey is down to ride at both meetings, McArthur, is down. Louis is down to ride at Kenilworth on Friday and Monday at Fairview. So how does he get it right?
Yeah, no, they alone would know, James, because I also read from one of the government people that said on TV, actually, if you have a job outside your provincial borders and you got to go and work on the day, and say in another town, you've got to have a permit to go and work there as long as you're back that evening again. Now, to me, the handlers should have given permits to come to Kimberley as a job they've got to do for the day and go back to their destination again that evening.
Well, as I said to you earlier, even better than that would be to actually have your own handlers in Kimberley and give them a wage and pay them, and they'd be there. You wouldn't have to worry about transport costs and all those things that come into it. And that just seems lack of planning on my side as far as Kimberley Racing is concerned. The most important thing as far as this is concerned is that we have a race meeting on Tuesday at the Vaal, and that is cross-border. That's in the Free State. So obviously everyone's getting a permit to be able to go to the Vaal to be able to race, from trainers, jockeys, staff, whoever races at the Vaal and lives in Gauteng has got to get a permit to go in across the border.
Yep, that's exactly how I had many calls from trainers at Racing Kimberley asking me exactly the same question. How can that be allowed and we cannot race? But I can't answer them. I'm also flabbergasted. I don't know what to tell them because to me it's crossing the borders. They've got permits to cross. So if they could do it for one place, surely they can do it for another place as well.
Exactly. That's a point I think is very important. Now, all right, let's talk about you guys that are training on Kimberley Racecourse. Phumelela have given you dispensation. They've given you 2 months no rent, apparently, which is very admirable of them and certainly very welcoming.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we got April and May.
April and May, okay. And are they prepared to help you any further? What about the stakes that they're saving? Because obviously that money is going to go somewhere. It's 22,000 a race times, I think you had 8 races per meeting.
25,500. They printed it wrong still as well.
Yeah. Is it wrong in the catalog?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's not talk. It can't be easy for you guys. Has anyone come forward and said that they will help you? I know that feed merchants have been approached, and I really believe that there should be people out there that may be sending you a truckload of food, a truckload of hay, truckload of shavings, anything to help you guys through this period, because it's got to be difficult.
James, yes, it is very difficult. You know, like I said, the owners in Kimberley, we don't charge a heck of a lot for training fees. The owners in Kimberley is also feeling it. I myself got very good owners. They're really sticking by me, and they know what it's all about. They're in the same boat as everybody else. But I must now come to and say a big thank you to the Sham brothers. There's Michael, Matthew, and Marcus. They found me this morning. They're sending a truckload of bedding shavings down to Kimberley. Then I can distribute it amongst the trainers for the amount of horses I've got, for X amount of bags that they will get then. So it's very nice of them to do it. And then I also got an anonymous donor that gave us a big truck, about 40 to 50 of those big pack bales of teff. And they don't want to be mentioned, which I will then not mention as they wish. And that is coming next week as well, which I can also then give to the trainers.
I think that's fabulous. Equifeeds apparently have come to the party, although they're not your big suppliers.
Yes, they're not, and they're helping us with something. We're waiting for the other food merchant to come back to us. I don't know, they don't look too keen, although we spend most of our money on their products. But we'll see what they have to do, and I won't mention names.
I think that we should. I think we should mention names. I don't have a problem. I think that we've approached EPOL, and we think that they should come to the party. It really, most of the trainers there use EPOL feeds. You'd think that they'd come to the party with 3 bags of.
That's a majority of food.
Yeah.
In a small stable like mine alone, I must be spending close to 500,000-600,000 in a year on EPOL products.
Yeah.
And that's not only me. That there's quite a lot of people just using the EPOL product. And they had a meeting yesterday. Debbie told me that they were going to have a meeting yesterday, but up till now they haven't come back to me to say yay or nay. So it's I don't know what their plan is, but
well,
they must be careful. You see, because we use a lot of their products.
Well, let's hope they see the light, and it's always a time to give back in this industry. We take out of it. We all have gained a living out of it, and the big feed companies are certainly part of it. We're going to keep pushing for donations and help. Food parcels for your grooms. I think that can be attended to. Can I just ask people to get hold of you directly or me if they would like to make a donation, if they'd like to help in any way?
Either one of us, you or me. I have approached you to help us as well, and the Kimberley trainers are very happy with that. And I also might have bank details tomorrow for you from the bank, and then I can give you a bank account for any donations and stuff. And then regarding the grooms food parcels, I must say the RA, Mike Lecoq, arranged it for last month that they sent me money and I had to go and buy all the grooms food parcels in Kimberley, which they said if I need again, I must just approach them for food parcels for them again. And they will help. And then I must say, before I forget, James, that the RA, I have asked Michael, he's actually our mouthpiece, the cock, and he feels for the younger, not that bloody young. I mean, he feels for the smaller trainers. He feels for the smaller trainers, and he knows what it's all about. He's been there once upon a time as well, and he's told me that the RA will commit to giving us some money per horse in a stable as well. Their share of the stake spot that they would have paid out in any case, that they will help us with in Kimberley and let us try and survive the time till we can race again.
Cliffy, that's fantastic news. Let's hope that it all comes to fruition as quickly as possible. And thank you so much for joining us here. As I've said, people can get hold of you or me, and we will do our best to make sure that everything keeps running smoothly there. And well done with Kimberley Racing. I think you've done an unbelievable job with it. As far as we're concerned, we love having your podcasts that you put up for the race meetings, and you're bloody accurate. You're not a bad judge. So that's not. Yeah. All the best.
Guys, I must thank you for all your help. Right?
Well, all the best to you and Heather and all the Kimberley trainers. Give them our best regards, and hopefully this can help in getting them on the right track. But thank you for joining us, Cliffy Miller from Kimberley. Right, Cliffy Miller from Kimberley. That's very interesting because, as we've outlined and chatted about, this seem to be ways that you can make things work if you really want to make things work. And there are a lot of people, just going back to my notes here, well, Nikki said planning and overcoming obstacles, this is the way forward. Racing needs to be more adaptable. And he's certainly right. Certainly racing got to look at the bigger picture. Everyone in racing should be looking at the bigger picture as to how to get things going. Now, what is interesting in the notes on the channels and on the airwaves, and I read extensively and find out what's going on. Carl Burke, who's an English trainer and trains North, is looking to race 2 horses in Germany on Saturday. Although there is lockdown and there's no racing, he's looking to race 2 horses in Germany, and they're trying to accommodate him, which I think is absolutely amazing. France have said that they will start on the 11th of May. They're going to start racing again. And remember, they were one of the worst COVID hit countries in the world per capita, and they're looking to start racing on the 11th. And what's interesting, the Department of Agriculture, because of the relationship that these guys have, and the Rothschilds racing, they're a very powerful family there. With the government, they've decided that they're going to give back the amount of money that they get from the levy for at least a couple of months to French racing to help it put together the stakes, help the stake spot put together, make things right. So very interesting that France, British Horse Authority, has come under big fire. Mark Johnson and Rafe Beckett, they're the 2 guys at the head of things, and they have asked for this guy's resignation. They say he has not run it correctly. He has not run it well. I know the BHA came out with a news brief this morning that said, they're very happy with Nick Rust and he had done this and that and the other. But England closed down racing, and that was through the BHA. There seems to be no reason why, if you have a good relationship with your government, you shouldn't be able to race. Certainly behind closed doors, social distancing is not a problem. Wearing protective gear, not a problem. Getting people to the race course to run a race meeting is not a problem because there are very few of them needed. And even if you decided to have a virtual studio like they have supposedly at the NHA in South Africa, the staff can sit there. They don't need to be at the race meeting. They need one person there to run the race meeting, a racing operator representative, and they need a microchipper. So the microchipper has got to be done, and the routine urine sample collection has got to be done. Apart from that, it's pretty simple. Get the jockeys there. They're all prepared to go in their own cars. The trainers are there already. The horses are there. They're working the horses every morning. It doesn't make any sense that there should be all these obstacles thrown in the way, except, and this is the crux, is the relationship that the business has with the people that actually run government. And I think the relationship is not in a good way. We hope that this doesn't affect us starting racing. They've said that they'll give us an answer tomorrow as to whether we start racing. We have already put up nominations and acceptances. Looks like a great card for 67,000 Rand normal stakes on Saturday. The race that interests me is the 1,000 meter. What a field of horses. Rebels, Champion horses like this racing for 67,500 gross stake. That's pretty impressive. The guys are coming to the party. Well done to them. So the people that work in racing are doing a wonderful job. They kept the horses going. The jockeys have kept going and riding them. The trainers have kept working them, kept them fed. Everyone's moving along. What about the operators? What about the people that actually should be looking at being innovative in trying to get this whole industry up and running again? Looking at their relationships that they have with various people in government to be able to run racing. I'm not sure that there's anything anyone wants to say out there, but it's been interesting chatting to the Kimberley boys. It's interesting telling you guys all about what's happening around the world as far as racing is concerned. It looks like people are getting their head around the social distancing and protective gear wearing, and hopefully that's going to stop this virus sooner rather than later, and that we will all get back to normal. I don't see it happening that soon in South Africa, but hopefully South African racing can get up on a level footing and be able to race 5 or 6 or 7 times a week, and hopefully they can start considering getting Kimberley back up and running as well, because Kimberley is certainly an extremely good income stream as far as racing is concerned, with very little overheads. And the overheads could be cut quite a lot. As we've said, use handlers from on the track. You can certainly use them, and they would be very easy to use, and use as few staff as possible that travel. Jockeys would travel, trainers are there, horses are there. Let's get the business going. Thanks for joining me. Thanks to all of you that have joined us, and hopefully those of you that watch us at a later stage will enjoy it and give us some feedback. That's what we look forward to. From me, James Goodman, Winning Ways Show. Keep subscribing and keeping up to date, because we'll be back with all the Interbet products on Saturday if we race there. Friday will be Kenilworth. That's what they're talking about. Saturday will be Turfentine, Sunday Greyville, Monday Fairview, and Tuesday at the Vaal. That's what the dates look like. Nikki, thanks for coming on board again, and great having whoever else is out there. We've had quite a few people out there today looking at our chat. Until next time, and I'll see what happens in the next few days before I post again as to when we'll be on. Have a good one.